Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where, as so often on Saturdays, we're going to have a look at a non-Sudoku puzzle today. This one is called Starmie, and it's by MazeGator. MazeGator's actually, every puzzle I've done by MazeGator has been fabulous, and this one's been recommended to us a lot. It's a hybrid of Masyu and Star Battle, hence I guess the name Starmie. And yeah, as I say, it's been recommended a lot. It's only 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty, and apparently it's wonderful. I haven't done Masyu on the channel for ages and ages. On Star Battle is something I love. It's going through a bit of a renaissance, Star Battle, but following the success of the game Queens on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, make sure you do Queens every day. Gets through all office firewalls, so you can play it at work. I don't know if I should tell you that, but you can. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Those puzzles on LinkedIn are handmade as well, so very high quality puzzles. And yeah, I think this has a similar Star Battle quality. I think we are doing 1 Star Battle, i.e. 1 star in every row, column and region, but we've got to build the regions using the Masyu loop. So that's what we'll do. I will read you the rules and we'll work through those together in a moment or two's time. Now, before we do that, I thought I'd share with you something I found very funny. Mark and I were sort of looking at some of the more popular videos that we've done over the last few weeks, and one of the most popular, perhaps surprisingly, is the 3.5-hour battle I had with Icy Fruit. It was a puzzle called Tiger, and we called the video something like the hardest puzzle I've ever solved on the channel, and that is absolutely right. It is a monstrously hard puzzle, and I've been sort of relieved to see that the comments have absolutely upheld that. It wasn't like there was a trick or something, and had I spotted it, it could have been done in half an hour. It was a genuine brute of a thing. Fascinating logic. But the most popular comment on that video, I think, deserves sharing a bit more widely. I'll put it up here. You might not be able to see it all, but Joseph D. List wrote, "My wife made me watch the Twilight movies 10 years ago with the promise that one day she would watch something of my choice without question. I've waited a long time for this moment." Nearly 2,000 people have liked that comment. I liked it very much. It still does make me laugh. So Joseph, thank you for that comment. It is yeah, it's a good one. What else can I mention to you? Our competition's closed for the month of February. So we had a Sudoku hunt running, Paint by Numbers Institute. We will announce the winner very, very soon, and the solution videos as well. So if you did get stuck on any of the puzzles, Where's My Mama was the title of the Sudoku hunt. There will be some solution videos coming very shortly over on Patreon, so do check those out. Anything else to mention? Yeah, I've got some really cool birthdays and things like that to announce today. So why don't we move on to those? I'll start off in Nebraska with Daniel. Daniel, your fiance. I'm going to say Sarah, but it could be Sarah. It's the Sarah spelling without the H at the end. Well, Sarah wrote to us and said that you showed her the first Cracking the Cryptic video 5 years ago, and then she said, which might not have made every girl swoon. What? Of course, it would make all girls swoon. Daniel has definitely used the most quintessential and brilliant way of wooing somebody, showing them a Cracking the Cryptic video. Surely that cannot fail, and indeed didn't fail. Anyway, Daniel, apparently you're an incredible man, brilliant, generous, and full of life, and she feels so lucky to be marrying you. And I know that, I think, Daniel, you travel internationally a lot and you're away, but Sudoku is something that you can do together when you're away, because you can sort of watch the videos or do the puzzles. So I'm glad we play a role in that. And Sarah maybe, described the channel as a beacon of kindness, which I thought was rather lovely. So thank you for that description. And Daniel, I hope you have a great birthday today with, of course, a large healthy slice, well, possibly unhealthy even, of heavily iced chocolate cake. Next, Molly. Molly, it is your 50th wedding anniversary today. Many congratulations. I know that your daughter is throwing you and your husband a party today. You're turning 70 in April. And although you've been a bit... you found it more difficult to watch Cracking the Cryptic in the last few months because I think you've had some eye surgeries, but you've still been listening along to the videos. Gosh, that must take tremendous concentration, trying to hold a Sudoku grid in your head. But Molly, many, many congratulations to you and your husband on reaching your golden wedding anniversary today. I'm sure that there will be cake involved in the celebrations, and thank you very much for your email too. Next, George. George, you've turned 24 today. You're in Norfolk in the UK. Your girlfriend Maddie wrote to us. And George, I don't even think you watch the channel, but you are aware that Maddie likes to watch it, especially when going to sleep. It's amazing how many people use my videos to go to sleep. That's such a cuss. My sister would find that very amusing. Anyway, she really appreciates. She really appreciates how much you care for her. And George, I hope you have a great birthday today. Next, Tom. Tom, you've turned a secret age. I better not reveal it. And I know this because your daughter Millie wrote to us and told us that you find the videos relaxing. And your family watch along with you and will sing for a 3 in the corner. I don't think there's going to be a 3 in the corner today. I'm sorry about that. I think what we're doing today is sort of loop drawing. Oh, my phone's buzzing. Loop drawing and possibly star putting in. Maybe we'll get a star in the corner. Can I make that rhyme? Not easily. Not easily, but Tom, many happy returns. And then finally, Kim, it's your birthday today. I know this because your partner Nicholas wrote to us and described you as, well, I wasn't quite sure what this line meant in the email, but then I got it. Current wild rice blend is superb, brackets 10, was the description of you as a partner, Kim. And, well, for those of you who don't do cryptic crosswords, current, as in Ohm's law, is sometimes V equals IR, so I can be current. And wild rice blend is an anagram of rice blend. And if you do muddle those up correctly, you get the word incredible, which of course means superb. So you're an incredible partner, Kim. And but apparently you're having an assortment of pastries today rather than chocolate cake. What's going on there? That's totally and utterly wrong. But I hope you enjoy them anyway. And Kim, many, many happy returns. And that's all the news. Let's have a look at Starmy, which I presume is not sort of a term of affection for the British Prime Minister. It must be. No, it's Star Battle and Masyu. That's what it is. And these are the rules. So it starts off with Masyu. It says, draw a closed, non-branching, non-crossing loop along dotted grid lines. Oh, we're going to have to get the loop drawing today, aren't we? We'll have... Should we make a black? Yeah, if you don't know how to draw the loop in the software, the way to do it is you just click on the cog icon and make sure you have your pen tool enabled. I always have my pen tool enabled and my letter tool enabled because that allows you to just select an icon on the right hand side of the grid, and then you can just drag lines in the grid. It's really very, very nice creation of the software of Sven, the programmer behind SudokuPad, the software we use. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So anyway, that's what we've got to do. So we've got to draw a loop. The loop must visit all given circles and follow these rules for movements. The loop must turn on black circles and go straight through at least one vertex on both sides of the turn. So what does that mean? That means that we must, if this was well, let's do it. If the loop went south from this black dot and east from this black dot, that's not. It must go further because it must go straight through that vertex and it must go straight through this vertex. It could continue and go straight for a lot longer, but it must at least do those two things. So black dots sort of cause the loop to turn is the first thing, and also to go quite far in two directions. The loop must go straight through white circles, so that would be a way it could go straight through that circle, or that way would be another way it could do it. It must also turn on at least one of the vertices it visits on either side of the white circle. So if it did this, it would either have to turn there, or both. What it couldn't do is that, because then it hasn't achieved a turn on either on the first vertex it meets, and that's against the rules. Grey circles act as either a black or a white circle, and the solver must deduce which. So we do we? No, actually we don't. I was wondering whether some of them were going to be given because they were on the edge, but actually no, that's not going to be. It's not. We can't tell whether that's a black dot or a straight dot at first blush anyway. So that's not going to be desperately easy, but that's something we have to do. And then it says star battle. The Masyu loop divides the grid into regions. Place exactly one star into each row, column and region such that no two stars touch, not even diagonally. For the solution check to work, place a 1 into every cell containing a star in the final grid and a 0 into every other cell, into all other cells. So that's what we have to do. So there's going to be some loop we're going to draw, and then we're going to have to put, yes, that's not going to be the loop we have to draw, because there would only be two stars in that diagram. Because I've only split the grid into two regions. I've split it into the loop, the inner bit of the loop and the outer bit of the loop. And that's not going to be enough stars for however big this grid is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 by 10 grid. So do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I have to confess, I have done quite a lot of Masyu puzzles before in my life, and that is because of the wonderful, wonderful Japanese company Nicoli, who used to, before, was it the Flash player or something that broke? It's a real example of something very strange, which is technology going backwards. There used to be, I think it was called a Flash player. It was something that allowed Nicoli to publish puzzles every day that the world could race on. So we could do a Masyu puzzle as quickly as we could, and then you'd press submit at the end, and it would say, okay, you've finished the puzzle correctly, and you have come 20th in the world out of the 20,000 people who've done the puzzle. And then it would say, and then you could look at the people who come higher than you, and you could watch their solve. It actually recorded the moves you'd made. So if you wanted to watch Hideaki Joe or Thomas Snyder do it in 4 seconds, you could, and you could see their techniques and how brilliant they've been. And then something happened, and I think it was the Flash player broke, or not broke, but it was decommissioned or something. I don't know what happened, but anyway, it then became technologically impossible to do this or to make these puzzles work anymore. So they just stopped, and it was an absolute tragedy for puzzle solvers. Anyway, back in those days, I used to do a lot of Masyu, so I do know the rules of Masyu quite well. So, for example, I know this black dot here. Immediately, I could draw that line from it. Because if we think about because the loop has to turn on a black dot and has to continue and go, it can't go that way because it would meet a vertex, but it couldn't go straight through that vertex. So it must do that, and then it's either going to do that or that. But well, at least I don't at first blush know which of those it's going to do. The same is true in this corner. That is absolutely forced. The white dot there is forced. Okay, I don't see anything else immediately obvious. Oh, yeah, this little, oh, That little dot there, where the cursor's moving around, that can't be a black dot, can it? Because it would have to go straight out that way. Because there would definitely be a turn, so it can't do that. There's going to be a turn, and that's going to cause the loop to branch. So this must be a white dot. It doesn't look like it, but it must be. So the loop must do that. And now look, this little loop end here, that's got to just continue, where it's going to hit another dot. Right, this dot also can't be a black dot because it would cause the loop to branch. So that continues. Now, two things I notice about that is that these grey dots that are actually white, we have not turned anywhere near them, but we must turn in at least one of the vertexes either side of the loop. So that is a turn, that is a turn. This little dot now can't be a white dot because we'd bump into it ourselves, so that's forced. This is a black dot, so it must do this. Now, oh, I so want that to be a black dot. If that's a black dot, do we earn? It's actually not a black dot. It's not a black dot. I wanted it to be, but it's not. And the reason it's not, it's a bit subtle, but let me explain. If this was a black dot, it would have to have this shape. Now look at this one in the bottom row. What sort of dot could it be? Well, it now can't be a black dot because that would be forced. And it can't be a white dot because this would carry on. But there's been no turn. There would have to be a turn there, and that would cause a branch. So actually, unfortunately, this one here, I don't really have a way of notating this. It's a white dot, which means we are going in that direction or that direction through it. But I don't see an immediate way of knowing which of those is correct. Oh, this one here, that must be a black dot, mustn't it? Because again, we can't go straight through that one. So that's forced, that's forced. And now this one's either going there or there because it has to turn. And if it goes down, that would be forced. I don't know, that doesn't look like a very forced sequence to me. Right, hang on. Now it's going to get harder, isn't it? I've not even thought about Star Battle yet either. Actually, I can't actually see anything immediate. There must be something. You know how you get a feel for how difficult a puzzle is when you start it? Well, this felt like it had a really generous start, and I'm expecting that to continue now, and now I can't see anything to do. Right, that one doesn't go south because I think this dot would be forced to be white and it couldn't have a turn on either side of it. It would have to do that, wouldn't it? So this goes north. Which... right. Look at this dot here. The one that my cursor's circling. That is not a black dot. Because if it was a black dot, it couldn't go in either direction. If it was a black dot, that would be forced. And we can't turn that way because we created a tiny loop. There's only one loop. And if it goes that way, this white dot there's nowhere it could go. Because it would, whichever direction we went straight through it, it would cause the loop to branch. So, this is a white dot, which means we go straight through it. Yeah. Now if we go south, we have to continue through the white dots. This would be a black dot, but this white dot can't abide that because we'd be in this world again, and the white dot would have no possible fill. So we don't go south through there. We have to continue. Now this is a white dot, so we have to turn. Now this loop end is stranded, so it's got to get out. Yeah, and look now, if this continued, we would not have turned on this white dot. I know it looks grey, but it's really white. So this is really a black dot, and we have to turn and continue. Don't worry, by the way, if you're doing this puzzle and you're thinking, how does he know the rules of this? So if you do, 1,000 Masyu puzzles, you figure you get better at them. They become very natural. So how could this be a black dot now? Oh, you know what? Sorry. Oh, goodness. This is terrible. This is terrible from me. Before we did anything, I could have just looked at this this grey dot and said it can't be black. Because it can't be black, because it would always have that strut, and whichever direction the other strut went would break a white dot. So this has always been white from the start, and I haven't realised that. And it must turn. So this now can't be a white dot. So this is a black dot. And this is obviously it's obviously a white dot because it's white, but there's only one way to move through it now, so that's forced. This, we can't go vertically, so we have to go horizontally. This black dot now can't go vertically, so it must go south, and it's either going to go east or west, depending on other things we're going to have to deduce. No, this doesn't have to turn, because we have had a turn to the north there. Look, there has been a turn on a vertex on one side of this white dot, so it doesn't have to turn there. Right, this has to turn. Oh dear, I'm not seeing anything again now. Let's think. What could we do now? We could... I'm not going to do this, but that can't be a star. Because I think the rules are saying that is a region of the puzzle. And therefore that region contains a star. Now if I was to put a star here, that would be the one star for this row, and we can't let stars touch one another even diagonally, so this couldn't be a star. So if that's a star, you can't put a star in there. Yeah, that's quite interesting to think about what would happen if this goes across. Then there couldn't be any more stars, because then there would be a star in that region, and there would be a star in that region. That would be the two stars for the top two rows. So all of these squares would not be stars. I was going to say, do we have to be careful about the total number of... regions in the puzzle, because there must be exactly 10 regions in this puzzle. Now one of the regions we learnt when we were doing the example at the start. We're going to draw a great big loop in the diagram, but the inside of that loop is going to be one region. It's going to be one delineated region, so that can have one star in it. But there have to be 10 stars in the puzzle, because there are 10 rows and 10 columns. So 9 stars. So there have to be 9 different regions that reach the edge. There have to be 9 of those. Now, the thing is, I don't think that's that difficult. 1, 2... 3, 4, 5. So there's 4 more to come. Well, it's not massively easy. There could be 2 there. Those could both be regions. That's 7. So providing... Hang on, so let me just think about that. That's 5 there, 6, 7 is possible there. So there have to be 2, at least 2 down here. Let me circulate. Let's just draw some. So that would be possible, wouldn't it? And so I think by regions, you know, we're talking about a rinky-dinkle, aren't we? It's probably the technical term. We're talking about rinky-dinkles. So providing we can rinky-dinkle enough times, yeah. So there's, I think, 3 rinky-dinkles are possible down there. So if there were 3 rinky-dinkles here, then I'd only need 1 rinky-dinkle up here. But that means that this can't do that, which actually it couldn't anyway, because this is either a black dot or it's a white dot. So I suspect that at some stage in this puzzle we are going to have to keep track of how many rinky-dinkles there have been in order to make sure that we have 9 rinky-dinkles. But I think that point is probably not now. Although, the other thing we're going to have to bear in mind is the stars, isn't it? I know it can't be the stars yet. I don't think it can be the stars. There's too much latitude. I think, okay, alright, I'm not sure, but I think we have to do more Masyu. So, how do we do that? Oh, I worked out, hang on, I worked out that was white, didn't I? It just looks grey. Does that affect any of our conclusions? I don't think so. Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing, I just can't see what to do. What? I'm sure I'm missing a basic Masyu point. And that point is where? Do I know what this is somehow? Yeah, okay, if that was a white dot, that would be forced, and then I could only have 1 rinky-dinkle up at this top end. So I'd have to have 3 rinky-dinkles round here, which is the most I thought I could get in. I suspect that's impossible from a star battle perspective. You know, because I think I drew my rinky-dinkles like this. And I think that doesn't work because these 2 would both contain a star, and then I'd have 2 stars in this column, which is obviously not right. But there may be other ways of drawing. Maybe there are other ways of drawing rinky-dinkles. Oh. Right, good grief. Okay, this is something I hadn't been thinking about at all. I just wondered whether this could be a black dot. I don't think it can be, but it's very difficult to see, but I don't think it can be. If it's a black dot, because we have to continue through the white dot, we'd reach this position. And the problem here is that this black dot now cannot go west. So it has to go east like this, and this is broken. Because there's no way of fulfilling this dot in the corner now. The way to see that is to realise that any isolated portion of loop in the puzzle must have an even number of loop ends, because otherwise, you know, you won't be able to connect up the loop. So you'd have a decision here about which direction to send this black dot. Now, if you send it south, then this must also go south, and that there's going to be a closed loop down there. And if you send this north, and you decide to send that south for some reason in order to fulfill this dot, you can't get that loop out, so you can't do that. So this is definitely wrong. And this, although it doesn't look it, is a white dot, which means we continue and then we turn. So now this dot has become more difficult. We know it's a white dot, so it's either that, which would force that, don't know, or it's that, which looks fine as well. But I tell you what we might have done. Yes. Right, good grief. Now, here is the challenge I want to set ourselves. Can we do 3 Rinky-Dinkles in the bottom right-hand corner? I'm going to claim no. I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. Because, I mean, let's just do extreme Rinky-Dinklage, even though this would not fulfill this dot. We can't do that now, so we have to do that. No, there's only 2 Rinky-Dinkles possible. Absolute maximum of 2. Now, if that's true, and I think it is, it clearly is, isn't it? That means that in order to have 9 regions that are not the internal part of this loop in the grid, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... There's a maximum of 2 down here, so that's 7. There must be 2 up here. Two regions that are not loop. So that we have to turn. That's one Rinky-Dinkle, and that is another Rinky-Dinkle. So this is a black dot now, although it doesn't look it. This black dot can't go up, or we create a small loop. That forces this to turn. The loop must not close, so that forces that. Oh, this is gorgeous. Good grief, I've got loads of stuff from this. This has to do that, and now can't close, so that's got to do that. Right, and that's a star in the corner. That's a star as well, for that matter. This is a star in the corner because that region has to have a star in it. Let's use red for star. So that's a star. This region has to have a star. It can't be in the same column as another star. So that's 2 stars. There's got to be a star in this region, which how is that? So is that going to look like that? Oh no, so if that goes across, no, it doesn't have to look like that. I think it can be something far more complicated. Right. Beautiful. Got you. Right. This black dot can't go left anymore. Because if it goes left, we have to do that. And this region here cannot have a star in it now, because there's a star here in the top row. There's going to be a star there in that region. That's the 2 stars to the top row, so you can't. So this would not work because we couldn't put a star in that region. So this must go east. In fact, look, what we should do. There is a star in that region because there can't be a star here. So this region must grow downwards. Oh, whoopsie. In order to be able to accommodate, it can't stop there because it still can't have a star here because of this star here. So it's still got to carry on. And now if it goes down again, it could go a long way down the grid. That wouldn't break this dot, providing it turned. If that does do that, it has to do that. I think that's okay. I can't see what's wrong with that. Right, so what do we do now? Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure is the answer. We could do... Ah, okay. Sorry, I hadn't seen this. Has that been available for ages? Probably has. Now we can't close this because that would create a loop. Right, we can't close that because this loop end then is stranded. It can't do anything. So we've got to do that and that and that. And that's great. Right, so now I need to put a star in that region, and it can only go there. And okay, I don't know what that means, but that's something, isn't it? I have a horrible feeling there's more I can do down here. Actually, maybe what we should do is to try and work out where the two regions, because we know we need two rinky-dinkages down here, don't we? Now, if this, we know this is a white dot, so if we do that, that's one rinky-dinkage. I know it's not that difficult. Then this would have to be a black dot, and that would have to be the way that the world looked. That doesn't look, it doesn't look wrong, does it? But if we go down like that, then this is a rinky-dinkage. Again, that would have to be a black dot. So does, okay, maybe the point is that that's always a black dot. Okay, let's make this a white dot and see what happens. Yeah, that's clearly wrong. Sorry, I should have seen that instantly, but I didn't. But if we do this, in fact, you just can't finish. This white dot in the corner, which we know is white, although it looks grey, you can't draw anything through it and get the loop out. So I didn't see that, but that's certainly true. So this is a black dot. And, well, what does that mean? Well, it's the same point. How could that go down? It can't go down because then you can't fulfill the white dot down here without stranding the loop. So that goes up. Okay. We've still got the obligation to get two rinky-dinkages into this bottom right hand area, which feels, this is inside the loop. So if that joins up there, this is outside the loop. That would have to be outside the loop. Oh, that works. No, you can do that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was wondering whether I could do some sort of loop machination down there. Okay, this is a black dot. So if that goes down, oh no, I see. I was going to say that's broken. It's not broken, providing this is that cell is a rinky-dinkage. Ah. Okay. Okay. I don't know what to do with that. So, right, okay, let's try something totally different then. If that is a region, i.e. if this doesn't extend upwards, so if we cut this off, then that would be a star, wouldn't it? And then whatever rinky-dinkages we had over on this side of the grid would have to get would have to get their star from at least row 8. And that feels difficult. Let me just, so what I'm sort of hypothesizing is if this is a star, well, okay, the one thing I can see immediately from that is that we can't go horizontal there, because then I couldn't put a star in this region. So that would have to be vertical. So this this little rinky-dinkage has to get a star. Oh, is that possible? No, that's not possible. Right. This doesn't work. It's complicated, but it doesn't work because now we can see that the loop is going to go like that. This is going to move across. This cannot close here because we haven't put a star in it, and the star must come from row 8 or higher. So it mustn't close. Now that's the problem, because now that does close the loop, and this region here has not got out of the bottom 2 rows. I mean, that's quite complicated, but I think it is foreseeable. And I could imagine it was intended because it's quite pretty. I like the moment I thought, could this cut here? Could this be a 2-cell region? I could immediately feel that was going to put pressure on the rinky-dinkages down here. And it does, in fact, terminal rinky-dinkage problems. So this is not a region. That region has to extend, which means that has to extend. Oh no, don't tell me that doesn't. I was going to say that has to join up here, but I'm not even sure that's true. Alright, I can see one other thing now. If we look at the inside of the loop up here, I obviously can't close the loop down here because that's going to create a little loop in the left hand side. The west side of the grid would just be a closed loop. So I have to do that. I have to do that. Right, this black dot has to go that way now. And it's either going south or it's going... it's not going north, because then this loop end is stranded. So it does go south. Okay, I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit and say that's a star, because that region has to have a star and it can't have it one in the top 3 rows because of this star that we don't know where it's going, but it's in one of those squares. This... Oh, I don't know. Oh, okay. See this white dot here? We can't go south through there, can we? Because then we're going to create a tiny little loop. So we have to do that, which means we have to do that. Now, this must be a vertical strand, which means it goes round the corner and connects here. And the only way to put a star in there is going to be in that cell. This is a brilliant puzzle. It's really clever. Now, this now can't have star in it, so the star in this region here is along the line that I've drawn. There has to be... Oh, look, we've got more loop we can draw here. That's got to turn, that's got to turn. We might have better not create a tiny loop, so that's got to do that. Now, oh lovely, look at this. So that's got to have a star in it. That's now got to be here. Now this can't be a region because we couldn't put a star in it. So we've got to sort of keep going with this, which is going to force that. Oh, beautiful. Again, look, it's maybe a little hard to see, but imagine I made that connection. Then the top, the sort of northwest, all of this top thing is a closed loop. That's wrong, isn't it? So that must duck down there. That must go there. Again, we can't close the loop, so we have to do that. We have to do that, that, and that. And that's the, okay, we've drawn the loop, I believe. And now we've got to do the stars, which... Oh. Okay, where's the star in this sort of funny Joshua tree type thing? It's not there, it's not here, it's not there, it's not there, so that's a star. So now we've got a star in the first 5 columns, but we haven't put a star in this column yet, or this column, or this column. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so we've got 3 more stars to place. And that means I should have 3 regions I've not put stars in. 1, oh, I see, I've got the loop itself. Oh, hang on, where's the star in that region? It's got to be there. So that's not a star anymore. So we've got a star in one of those and somewhere else. There must be a row that we haven't put a star in. Yes, here. Oh, that's it. There we go. Because you can't put a star next to another star. So that can't be a star. So that's a star, and that tells us that that's the star at the top. That was absolutely brilliant. What a beautiful puzzle. Now, how do we get this right? What we've got to do is to put a 1. I have got 10 stars, haven't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I've got 10. So I put 1 in there, and then a 0 into all other cells. Okay, well, let's try and do that. I could easily get this wrong. Those zeros? Okay, is that right? Yeah. Yes. I'm the only person who's ever done the puzzle, apparently. That was brilliant. That was absolutely beautiful. I think, yeah, Maze Gator is a heck of a setter of these sorts of things, because it wasn't just simple Masyu or even simple Star Battle. You really had to think about the two things together and how it would impact the loop to have certain regions. I loved the idea that we had to get 10 regions in the puzzle. It's brilliant, just beautiful. I really hope everyone had a go at that and got as much enjoyment out of it, or even as half as much enjoyment out of it as I did. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.